Welcome to MicroscopePro.com's webcast series. I had to practice that a couple of times because it's kind of a tongue twister. My name is Scott Lindsay. The purpose of these webcasts is to provide you with knowledge about Microsoft software so that you can accomplish the tasks that you want to do. Whether you get online to check your email and bank account statuses, or you create elaborate spreadsheets and documents, everyone will benefit from the things that I will show you. Since this is my first webcast, let's cover a few things that will help you get the very most from the show today and in the future. First, have your computer turned on and waiting at the desktop. Now, the desktop is that place where your computer stops once it is finished loading everything. Now, your desktop may look a little bit different than mine. It may have personalized pictures of your cat or your dog or your family. It can be just about anything. I will cover the desktop in a future webcast. Second, have some paper and a pencil ready to write down things as I go along. Now, this isn't necessary, but it will make it easier for you to remember things that I will share with you, especially once I go off the air. For example, I may give a website to you to visit that will emphasize the things that we cover in the show. Or I may show you things about your computer system that you may want to write down for future knowledge. So, let's get down to business. It's important to understand that not every computer system is created equally, and not every computer is running the same software. If you don't understand what software is, basically it is that part that is running the physical part of your computer. It's kind of like the furnace that's in your home. You can't see the natural gas that runs your furnace, but without it, it would just be a pile of metal sitting there. Well, the same is true for your computer. Without the software, which is just a special computer language called code to tell the computer what it is supposed to do, your computer would just be a pile of metal sitting there too. The main software responsible for running your computer system is called the operating system software. And this is where Microsoft comes into play. Microsoft has created many different versions of operating system software, but they are all called Windows, and then it names the version afterwards. For example, one of the first versions of Microsoft operating system software was called Windows 3.1. Today, we are using Windows 7. Now, they all don't use a numerical version to identify their operating system software. As I talk about Microsoft software, I will be using the exact same terminology that they use so that you can become familiar with it as it is in the real world. So let's dig in and find out which Windows operating system software your computer is running. Unless I tell you differently, everything I say will apply whether you're using a desktop or a laptop computer. This is such an easy process, and never at any time will I have you do anything that will harm your computer system, so it's okay to go poking around to find out this information. Now, go back to your desktop. Take a look, and down in the lower left-hand corner, you'll see either a square button that has the word Start written on it, or you'll see a round circle that has 4 different colored flags. This is called the Start button. Go ahead and click on it, and it will bring up a menu. Look to the right of the menu and find the words Control Panel, and then click it. It will open a new window with lots of icons about your computer system, and we will eventually cover all of these controls so you can be an expert at running your system. Next, look through the menu and find the icon named System, and single or double click it. If you cannot find the icon for this, look in the top right of the control panel window and find where it says View By, and click the arrow to the right of it. Then select Large Icons. Now you should be able to find the system icon. See how easy that is? When a new window opens, or if you have a gray dialog box open, it will state what operating system your computer is using. Let's talk about each one of the possibilities. First, if you are using Windows XP, A small gray dialog box opens and will state it is Windows XP Home Edition or Professional Edition, or it may even state XP Media Edition. Trifle not over that part, they are all Windows XP. It will also say what service release pack it has, whether it be 1, 2, or 3. We'll learn more about the importance of these service packs later. Down further in the box, it will also say how much memory or RAM, which stands for Random Access Memory, your computer has. Again, we'll talk about these things in a future webcast after we learn more basics. Go ahead and write down your Windows version, because as I discuss certain options that you can do with your computer, I'll also tell you how to do it according to your operating system. After you have written it down, go ahead and click Cancel to close the dialog box. I told you to click Cancel instead of OK because we didn't make any changes to your system, and just in case you might have, I don't want them to be applied right now because you won't know what you did and it might change the way things look, making it harder for you to see where we are. Now, XP users, go ahead and sit back for a moment while I talk to those that may be running Windows Vista or Windows 7. These are newer Windows versions. Windows Vista came out in 2006 and Windows 7 came out in 2010. When you clicked on the system icon and a new window opened, it will state your operating system information towards the top. Underneath it, it will also state the service pack release it has. Windows Vista has had 2 service packs released and Windows 7 has had only 1. If you continue down further, you'll see that it also states what processor it is running, as well as the memory and other important information. We're going to cover all of that in future MSP webcasts, so don't worry if you don't get it all right now. Just go ahead and click OK to save your changes, and then click the X in the upper right-hand corner of the window to close all of your open windows. Now, let's take a breather and do a quick recap. Every computer out there must have an operating system software to run it, or nothing will happen when you push the button to turn it on. Now, even though there are different versions, and some of them are newer than others, they are all Microsoft Windows. Now, your computer may be running Windows XP, which came out in 2002, or it might be running Vista, which came out in 2006, or you might be using Windows 7, which came out in 2010. Let me talk for a moment about these different versions and what you can expect from them coming up in the future. If you're using Windows XP, this is the dinosaur of operating system software out there, and support from Microsoft will be ending next April. Now what this means to you is that your computer could become more vulnerable to attacks from hackers and from viruses, so you really should plan and prepare to upgrade your computer by then. If your computer system is more than 7 or 8 years old, you probably should just plan on buying a new one. Now the grandkids and your children could still use the XP computer and they may destroy it, so be prepared for that, but it really has served its purpose. Now if you're using Windows Vista, this came out in 2006 and support from Microsoft will continue until 2014, so its time is limited also. I would strongly recommend that you upgrade your computer from Windows Vista to Windows 7, and I'll explain why in a moment. Microsoft had a lot of problems with Vista. It runs very, very slowly, and a lot of the times it will freeze, so the only way you can get it working again is to reboot your computer or to restart it. Now, upgrading to Windows 7, every customer that I've ever done that had an upgrade from Windows Vista to Windows 7 has told me that their computer has never run better. If you're using Windows 7, you don't really need to do anything because support from Microsoft will continue for several more years. Okay, so what's coming next? Windows 8 will be released in October of 2012, and in my opinion, this is one of the best operating systems that Microsoft has ever developed. Now, I fell in love with Windows 7 because it runs great, but Windows 8, when I saw it, it's going to be really nice. Now, Microsoft has made significant changes to how it looks and how it runs, so you're going to want to watch our MSP webcasts so that you can learn quickly all about Windows 8. Okay, I've said a lot about operating systems, and I'll bet that you know and understand a lot more about them too. Before we go, There's one more thing I wanted to show you about your computer system, and this is actually kind of exciting because you can play a joke on somebody in your household who also uses your computer. Now, if it's somebody else's computer, you may want to invite them in on the joke so they don't get upset with you. All we're going to do is change the speed of the mouse cursor. So what you'll do, go ahead and close any of your open windows that you might have and go back to your desktop. Go down to the Start button in the lower left corner and click on it, and then let's go ahead and open the control panel just like we did before. When your control panel opens, find the mouse icon and double-click it or single-click it. XP and Vista users will need to double-click it, and 7 users will just need to click on it once. The Mouse Properties dialog box opens, and when it does, you'll see some tabs across the top that say Buttons, Pointers, Pointer Options, Wheel, and Hardware. Now there may be other tabs there too, but these are the basic ones. Now, click on the Pointer Options tab, and at the top, you'll see what's called a slider bar with slow to the left and fast to the right. Click and hold down the mouse button on the arrow between slow and fast. You can drag the bar either way, and what this does is it changes how fast your mouse moves your cursor across the screen. Once you have moved it in either direction, click Apply at the bottom to see how it has affected the speed of your mouse cursor. If you put it all the way to the left to slow it down, this can drive the other computer users crazy because it takes many swipes with your mouse to get it to go places on your screen. Conversely, if you move it all the way to the right towards fast, the cursor zips around your screen like the wild mouse ride at Lagoon. After the joke is over, open up the Mouse Properties dialog box again through the control panel and put it back to the way it was. Click OK, and everything will be back to normal. Computers can be frustrating, but when you learn all of the great things that computers can do, frustration turns to enjoyment the more that you do it. Now before I go, I'm going to be giving away a Windows 7 Ultimate product key that's genuine Microsoft. This is a $219 value. If you want a chance to win this, send me an email to scott@microscottpro.com, and in the subject line or even in the body of the message put free Windows 7 product key or something to that effect. I'll have a drawing of all of the emails that I receive, and I'll notify you by email if you're the lucky winner, and we'll make arrangements for me to deliver the key to you. I want to thank you for coming to my MSP webcast today. I hope you've been able to learn a lot, and I hope you've been able to accomplish what we set out to do today, and that was to find out what Windows operating system your computer is using. Join us every Thursday for future MSP webcasts. Next week we'll be talking more about the desktop, so you'll want to see it. This is Scott Lindsay with MicroScottPro.com saying, happy computing.